explanation, just relax, it will be 10 minutes. Yeah? So at 10 past 8 approximately it will be over. So let me explain about discourse markers today. Discourse markers. Discourse markers. Why do we use discourse markers? What is the purpose of discourse markers? Well, one thing you can do with them is to connect ideas. That is one use of the discourse markers, to connect ideas. You can also use them to give further information. What else can you do with them? You can join two clauses in a sentence, and this is the important part. Imagine that this is a sentence. Sentence. And the sentence can be, not always, but it can be divided into clauses. This is clause number one, and this is clause number two. Clause 1 and clause 2. What is the thing about clauses? Clauses within a sentence are normally divided by a comma, but they are not sentences. A sentence is at the beginning of a text or after a full stop, and then it finishes with a full stop. That is a sentence. Yeah, full stop, or at the beginning or after full stop. A clause and another clause are divided by a comma. That is the difference between sentence and clauses. Yeah, sentence, full stops, clause, commas. What is the characteristic of a clause? A clause is a clause because the clause has a subject and a predicate. Yeah? Subject and predicate. And then the same thing here. It has a subject and a predicate. Clause 1, clause 2. Okay, so what can I do with discourse markers? I can join two clauses in a sentence. One of the uses of discourse markers, we're talking about discourse markers, to join two clauses. So this clause and this clause inside this sentence can be joined, not just by a comma, but using a discourse marker. The discourse marker can be used to join the sentences in the middle. So you can have a discourse marker here, discourse marker in the middle. You can also have a discourse marker at the beginning of the second clause, discourse marker. And you can also have a discourse marker, sometimes at the end. But let's talk about the middle position first. It can express cause and consequence. This is the theory, okay? They can express cause and consequence. So far so good? So to connect ideas, to give more information, to join the clauses, sentence, clause 1, clause 2, join them together with a discourse marker. All right? Now I'll give you examples so that you understand this a little bit more. But I think this graph is quite useful for you. If I were you, I would write it down. If I were in your shoes. Okay, let me give you an example. Let me give you the examples of despite, owing to, and whereas. Despite, owing to, and whereas. Yeah, despite, owing to, and whereas. Example sentence. Despite having studied hard, with despite. Despite, they can also be at the beginning of the first clause. Okay, so in the graph that I told you before, the discourse marker can also be at the beginning, of the first course, the first clause. Despite having studied hard, comma, he didn't pass the exam. He didn't pass So here, what do we have here? This is, what is this? A sentence. And here we have clause number 1 and clause number 2. Here we can use the despite. What is despite? A discourse marker. And I'm using it at the beginning of the first clause. Despite having studied hard, that is our friend John, for example, he didn't pass. We need a comma here, yeah, dividing. Despite blah blah blah, comma, he didn't pass. That is one use of despite. Is there anywhere else where you could place despite? Okay, I'm going to give you the beginning of the sentence. He didn't pass. You could also say, he didn't pass. He didn't pass? Yeah, give it to me, Irene. I think you got it.
He didn't pass despite
Despite?
having studied.
Despite having studied. So he didn't pass despite having studied hard. Okay, notice that after despite, what do you need? You need ing, a gerund. Yeah, you could also say despite his effort. Yeah, despite his effort. Despite his effort, he didn't pass. What is effort?
Noun.
A noun. So after despite, what do you need? A noun or a gerund, ing verb. Okay? So he didn't pass despite having studied hard. Any other possibility? He didn't pass despite his efforts. Again, after despite, what do I need? ing or a noun. Okay. Also, I want you to notice as well that after this discourse marker, if we use it in the first clause, we need a comma. If we put the discourse marker in the middle, do we need any comma? No. So remember, discourse marker at the beginning, comma, and second clause. Discourse marker in the middle, clause 1, clause 2, no comma. So far so good?
Jesus,
Yeah.
can I use the fact?
Despite of the fact that, yeah, that would be rephrasing. Let me rephrase it for you, okay? May I erase this? I'll take that as a yes. Despite of the fact that he studied, he didn't pass.
Okay.
Despite of the fact that he studied, you know why do you need this? Because after despite, what do you need? What do you need after despite?
A noun.
A noun. So if you want to say, if you say despite he studied, is that right or wrong?
Yeah, right.
Despite he studied, is that right or wrong? That is wrong. After despite, what do you need? A noun or ing. Is this a noun or ing? No. So this is wrong. That's why you use despite of the fact that, so that you can use a clause, yeah, a normal subject and another form. That's why you need despite of the fact that, Angel.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you say despite he studied, this is wrong. Yeah, despite, you should say despite having studied. Yeah. Okay, this is despite. Let's continue because otherwise, it's gonna get long. Next one, owing to. By the way, shall we translate very quickly all the markers that we have? Let's get a translation in Spanish very quickly from this exercise. So, owing to, debido a, despite its spectacular architecture, a pesar de, I would say, a pesar de, yeah? A pesar de. Moreover, además, yet, In this context, I would say aún así. Yeah? Aún así. As a matter of fact, de hecho. Namely, no. Por ejemplo. Namely, por citar un ejemplo. Namely, por citar algún ejemplo. That would be the literal translation. In any case, en cualquier caso. For instance, conversely, that's a difficult one. Conversely, I would say, I have an example here. That one is difficult to translate. I'm going to show it to you here. En cambio, por el contrario. En cambio, por el contrario, conversely. En cambio, por el contrario, conversely. Whereas, mientras que. Mientras que. So to show a contrast. Whereas, mientras que. Okay, now we have the translations. Let's continue with owing to. Owing to. Owing to his lack of effort, comma, John didn't pass. Okay, discourse marker, owing to. After owing to, what do you need? Have a look at this. Effort. What is effort? A noun. So this whole thing is a noun phrase. And the most important element of the noun phrase is the noun. Owing to his lack of effort, comma, John didn't pass. What should you learn? If you have the discourse marker at the beginning, then you need a comma. And then after the comma, clause number 2. Before the comma, clause number 1. And the whole thing is the sentence. All right. Now let's put owing to. Don't forget this. Yeah, the comma in the middle. Why? Because the discourse marker is at the beginning. Yeah, discourse marker, comma. Now, can we do it with the discourse marker in the middle? Let's use it with John didn't pass. Yeah, John didn't pass. John didn't. Come on, Irene, you can do it. Dictate it to me. Sorry, slowly.
Okay. John didn't pass.
Yeah.
Owing to
Owing to
his lack of effort.
his lack of effort. Do we need any comma here? No comma. So when the discourse marker is in the middle, there is no need for a comma here. John didn't pass. Sorry, didn't pass. John didn't pass owing to his lack of effort. So far, so good? Next, whereas. Let me give you a sentence. Perhaps you can translate it into English for me. Okay. John doesn't care. This is a different case, yeah? John doesn't care, mientras que su hermana pone mucho esfuerzo. Come on, give it to me. Tries hard or puts a lot of effort, yeah? Puts effort into it. Okay, so where's the discourse marker here? Notice that whereas is a little different, yeah? Here whereas is a little different. John doesn't care, comma. Whereas his sister puts effort. What do we have after whereas? Again, a noun. Whereas his sister puts a lot of effort. Okay, notice that in this case the comma is before the discourse marker. Even though the discourse marker is in the middle, yeah, whereas needs a comma before it. Yeah. Can we do it with whereas at the beginning? Is it possible? Angel, give it to us.
Whereas John,
Yeah, that's all right. Give it to me with whereas his sister.
whereas his sister puts a 4, common, John doesn't care.
John doesn't care. So again, we can have the discourse marker at the beginning, again followed by a noun, and then comma. So be careful. Whereas asks for a comma when it is in the first position, but whereas is preceded by a comma when it's in middle position. So far so good? What was the translation for whereas? Oh, mientras que, thank you. May I? Okay, the other set of discourse markers that I want to... Oh, this one is a little bit long. I'm sorry for today's explanation, it's long, but it's important too. To connect ideas in two separate sentences. You can also connect ideas into two separate sentences. Be careful here. Two separate sentences. So what does it mean? It means that we have sentence number 1, full stop, no comma, full stop, and then sentence number 2. They are not divided by a comma. They are divided by a full stop. So if there is a full stop, can you see it?
No.
Is it visible? Visible. Separate sentences, not by a comma, but by a full stop. Yeah, sentence 1, sentence 2. If you need me to make it a little bit bigger, just tell me, all right? Sentence 1, sentence 2, separated by a full stop. Perhaps a little bit more, yeah, okay. Something like that, yeah?
Thank you.
No problem, no. Anything you need, anything you need. Okay, separate sentences, very important. And have a look at this. You can use a discourse marker, yeah? Discourse marker, possibility number 1 at the beginning of the sentence, of the second sentence. Beginning of second sentence. Plus comma, of course. A little one, yeah, a little comma. Possibility number 2, after the subject of the second sentence, discourse marker, after the subject of the second sentence. Also, there will be commas, yeah? And possibility number 3, you can insert a discourse marker at the end of the second sentence. At the end of the second sentence. So, 3 possibilities. Notice that we're always talking about the second sentence. Second sentence, second sentence, second sentence. So, beginning of the second sentence. You may have a discourse marker here. Of course, with a comma. You may have a discourse marker here. Normally preceded by a comma. And you may have a discourse marker here. Remember, this is a sentence with a subject and a predicate. So after the subject, 3 possibilities, 3 possible positions for a discourse marker. Notice, always in the second sentence, not in the first sentence. Let's have a look at some examples. May I? 5 more minutes, only 5 more minutes. Okay, the discourse markers that I want to introduce now are, as a matter of fact, conversely. Conversely. What was the translation for conversely? Oh yeah, thank you. For instance, in any case, and moreover. Okay, let me give you an example. He studies hard. Sentence number 1. He studies Ha. Then full stop. A little one. Full stop. And then sentence number 2. He's the best in his class. He's the best. Where would you, what discourse marker would you place here at the beginning of sentence 2? Moreover works. I like it. You could say moreover. Any other possibility? As a matter of fact. Very good. Moreover, he's the best. As a matter of fact, he's the best. So, as you can see, you may find discourse markers at the beginning of sentence 2. This is sentence 1. Any other position? Imagine that I don't want as a matter of fact at the beginning. I want it somewhere else. Where would you put it? Where else can it work? As a matter of fact. And any other position for as a matter of fact? You can also, okay, as a matter of fact. Let me just do it as this. As a matter of fact. I think it would be easier than this, like this. You can put it here. As a matter of fact, comma, he's the best. You can also put it here. He, after the subject. Yeah? He, as a matter of fact, is the best. Can you see it? This one is not as big. He, as a matter of fact, is the best. Or you can also put it at the end after a comma. He is the best, as a matter of fact. So, 3 possibilities, as I told you before. Yeah? 3 positions, always in the second sentence. As a matter of fact, is the best. He, as a matter of fact, is the best, or he's the best, comma, as a matter of fact. 3 positions. So far, so good? One more example and we're done. Another example. Imagine that I say, John passed, Mary failed. John passed. This is sentence number 1. John passed. Full stop. Yeah? Mary failed. What is the best discourse marker that comes to your mind now? Conversely, yeah, obviously, yeah, conversely. Conversely, positions. John passed. Stop. Conversely, comma, Mary failed. Another, one more possibility. Mary, conversely, failed. Here I would place it between commas. Yeah? Mary, conversely, failed. Why after Mary? Because Mary is the subject, so you can place it after the subject. Mary, conversely, failed. Mary failed, conversely. In this case, for conversely, I would say only beginning or after subject. I don't like it at the end. It sounds a little bit weird for me. So conversely, beginning and after the subject. Another example. May I? Another example. He studies. My students are getting better. My students are getting better at English, of course. This is sentence number 1. Then after the period, second sentence. Mike passed. Mike passed. Mike passed. What is the best discourse marker in this case? For instance. I would take for instance. So, for instance, may go at the beginning. For instance, Mike passed. Any other possibility?
In any case.
I mean, any other position for instance, sorry?
Mike, for instance.
Very good. Mike, comma, for instance, comma, between commas, yeah? Mike, for instance, passed. Another position for instance?
Mike passed, comma, first.
Mike passed, for instance. So, as you can see, 3 positions for instance. And the last example, I promise, the last one. Let me give you, yeah, this one. They say exams are getting harder. Exams are getting harder. exams are getting harder. Stop. Sentence 1. Sentence 2. None of my students failed. None of my students failed. They say exams are getting harder. None of my students failed. What is the best discourse marker in this case? Yeah, I would use in any case. So, but in any case, however, I think however would be even better, but let's use in any case. In any case, none of my students failed. Another possibility for in any case, I would say at the end, yeah? Well, none of my students failed. In any case, yeah? So, at the beginning and at the end, in any case. Yeah.
In this case, can you put yet or not?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Yeah. Yet none of my students failed. Aún así. Yet means aún así. So yet would be a beautiful discourse marker here. Good comment, Nerea. Yeah. Yet none of my students failed, or none of my students failed. Yet. Be careful because yet can also mean todavía with the present perfect. Have you finished yet? Todavía. But as a discourse marker, it means aún así. Be careful, yeah? Alright, the last one, I promise. I have promised you before, but this is the real one. Yeah? The real one. Okay, the cost of living is getting expensive, it's getting higher. The cost of living is getting higher. Sentence 1. Salaries are frozen. Salaries are frozen. What is the best choice here for a discourse marker? The cost of living is getting higher. It's difficult. Salaries are frozen. That's even more difficult. I think, would you say these ideas are contradictory or they complement each other? Complement each other. It's getting even more difficult. So let's use moreover in this case, yeah? How would you translate moreover again? Además y lo que es más. So the cost of living is getting higher. Moreover, salaries are frozen. Any other possibility for moreover? I don't like moreover at the end. So the other possibility would be after the subject. So salaries, moreover, are getting frozen. Again, I would place it between commas. That is the end of the explanation. It was a bit long, but it was okay. It was necessary.